You ready? Okay, 请各位合掌. Please palms together. I'll give you a line and you give it back to me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo sadando suchedoye olahodi samya samputoshe. Okay, together. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even through billions of eons. But now we've come to see and hold it within our sight and hearing. We vow to fathom the thus come ones, true and actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dharma friends, good evening. Welcome, everybody. Does everyone 要付耳机的人都有耳机付好了没有？有没有？有了哈。有没有谁需要一个耳机可以听中文流利的中文？我们再有翻译的义工很流利，山东人你可以听得懂。Anybody need an earphone? Cliff is providing. He is our varsity translator. He's our first team translator. Okay, everyone else? So, because he's translating, that means I can speak English. Okay, everybody okay with that? All right. So, my name is Heng. You're welcome to GCDR. We're so glad you're here. It's so nice to see so many friendly faces from all over, my goodness. Some folks just drove over from Reedy Creek all the way, my goodness, wow. Others came from Atlanta, Georgia, oh my goodness. Some came from the Bay Area of California, and others came from Vancouver, Canada, and Singapore, and Malaysia, and Taiwan, all these different wonderful places. Some came from Santa Cruz. Some came from City of 10,000 Buddhas. We're delighted that Jin Shi is here and the Bhikshunis are here. This is really, the Gold Coast Dharma Realm has become the energy center of Dharma Realm Buddhist Association for this period of time. People have come from all over. And tonight I have 1 hour that I want to use this time to talk to people about precepts for the deceased. But that is not the only event that is happening here. In fact, tomorrow, Wade Qinjue is going to begin his career as a trainee tomorrow as well. So you all get to seishi, you get to watch that happen. And that's a rare and special event. So we thought that it's because Jin Chuan and Jin Wei Shi are both here, Wade Qinjue, he'll be cultivating in the program in Northern California, so we thought it was good to have you all witness his transition towards a shoushunja, right, a xueren, a trainee. All right, so what I would like to do with the time is let you hear first of all what Master Xuanhua said, what Shifu said about precepts for the deceased. Shifu gave a talk at Dongjingsi in Hualien, Taiwan in 1990, that was 1989. in Hualien, Dongjingsi. And it's, he lays out this, the principles behind the You Ming Jie, precepts for the deceased. So I want to share that. It'll take a few minutes. Then I'm going to bring up a few points that I've learned and a couple stories about the precepts for the deceased. Then the rest of the time is going to be questions that you all want to ask, because this Dharma is pretty special, and it's different from the other kinds of Dharma practices that we do. There are some unique things about our precepts for the deceased that I think if you all really do ask questions, just we want to become a Dharma family. We have monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen. These are the people we see. Tomorrow, we hope invisibly, there will be many more of our larger family here to receive the precepts for the deceased. So that depends on our sincerity. How many people have taken the precepts for the deceased before? 你们请举手，受过幽冥界的人请举手。很多很多。Okay, so much of the things that I will say to you, you've already experienced, but that's okay. Every time it's we are holding a different pai wei for a different individual, and again, it's our sincerity that makes it happen. So I'll just read to you, and this is my reading. I'm not interpreting. I just want you to hear Shifu's words that when he explained these to us. All right. So this is a talk that Shifu gave about You Ming Jie in 1989, when he was setting up the 正法佛学院。正法佛学院有没有谁在那儿 ？OK， 恒祖是 ，Yeah， 你是其中一个。你是 veteran， yeah， good， OK， 好。咱们为什么要给先人受幽冥戒呢？因为咱们善终之远，明德归厚，那么咱们能以不忘本，就是那一句不忘本，没有忘本，没有忘原来的人，愿意给先人或者亲戚受幽冥戒呢，这是一种真正的孝顺。这种孝念可以挽回天意，可以令世界天灾人祸想不到的、说不出的这种灾劫，都可以化为无有。Okay, let me translate that much. Why should we take the precepts for the deceased on behalf of our ancestors? Shifu said, it's because we honor the tradition of respecting and remembering our roots. Just that single phrase. We did not forget where we came from, our origins. And by doing that, we enrich our own virtue. Because we have not forgotten our roots as human beings, because we're willing to take the precepts for the deceased on behalf of our ancestors and relatives, in this way, we practice genuine filial respect, which can change, he says, heaven's command, 天命, you can change the destiny of humans on the planet. It can prevent natural disasters and human calamities. Unforeseen and inexpressible misfortunes can be averted. 所以咱们信心来受戒，这是一种在佛教里最孝顺的一种行为。所以，这比你用什么样的诚心供养三宝都有效。这是真正的报本。所谓君子务本，本立而道生。孝悌也者，其为人之本乎？这是我们人一种报答根本、报答祖先父母的一种表现。Shifu says, therefore, taking the precepts with faith is one of the most filial practices in Buddhism. This practice holds greater value than making any other kind of offering to the three jewels, You could consider it repaying kindness at a fundamental level. As the saying goes, this is Confucius, the superior person attends to the root of his or her life. When the root sets in deep, the way emerges. The Tao comes from that. Filiality and fraternity are the roots of humanity. So this practice demonstrates how we repay the kindness of our origins, our ancestors, and our parents. Okay, so far so good. Shifu's words are really rich, and we're already halfway through the talk, but keep listening. I know it's somehow Shifu's words have such nutrition that you eat a little bit and you feel very full already. But there's more to come. So here we go. 所以我们每一个人不要把这个受有冥界这堂的法事看得那么 easy， 他说那个英文字不要看得那么 easy， 那么容易，这可以说是潜在难逢万劫不遇的一种法门。所以我们各位都应该替先人生欢喜心，替世界来庆幸啊，因为咱们令我们先人都离苦得乐，了生脱死，他就是受有冥界之后就可以往生去。So taking these precepts with faith, let's see here. Therefore, don't look at the practice of precepts for the deceased as trivial or easy. It's a rare and precious Dharma method, difficult to encounter in 1,000 years or even 10,000 eons. We should rejoice for our ancestors and for the world, as this practice liberates ancestors from suffering and helps them gain lasting happiness, ending the cycle of birth and death. After taking the precepts for the deceased, they can be reborn in the Pure Land. 所以每一个人要特别重视这一点，不要把它看得那么简单。咱们这是真正报答我们父母的恩、祖先的恩，乃至我们把这个世界的灾劫都完去了，这是对于每一个人都有好的，所以我们要郑重其事来对这堂佛事。So don't look at the practice of precepts for the deceased as trivial. Pay attention to this. Do not dismiss it as a simple matter. This practice truly serves to repay the kindness of our parents and ancestors, and even helps avert disasters worldwide, as it benefits everyone. So we have to do the Buddha's work respectfully and seriously. 好，最后，今天这个佛事做的也很如法次第，也很庄严修穆。那么你们各位心里都生大欢喜心，你的先人一定都会离苦得乐。这个事情多的来 ，let's see， 这个要多的来做这一个事情，这是好的。我们学佛的人要处处认真，处处实在的去做每一堂佛事，都要实在的，毕竟的毕恭毕敬的，这才能得到相应分。Okay. So finally, Shifu ends up by saying, today the Buddha's work, the transmission of the precepts, was conducted, this is afterwards. It was conducted properly and solemnly with reverence. You should feel great joy in your hearts, as your ancestors will certainly leave suffering and attain bliss. We will practice this Dharma frequently, as it is beneficial to all. As Buddhists, we must honestly and sincerely conduct each ceremony with utmost respect to invoke a response. So that last thing is that was collected together, was said after the ceremony was done. Okay, so you've heard Shifu's words. Let's think about it. He connects, first of all, he says, this is within Buddhism, this is the most filial of behaviors. And I know many people, when they think about Buddhism, filiality is not the first thing they think about. When they think filiality, they think, oh, Confucius. In fact, if you think about our order, our own teacher was known as a Xiaozi, sat by his mother's grave for 3 years. If you think about his teacher that he took refuge with, he was a Xiaozi for both of his parents, 6 years by the mother's grave, father's grave. Then the teacher who shaved his head was also a Xiaozi, famous in Manchuria. And then the teacher that Master Hua got the Dharma transmission from, Master Empty Cloud, was extremely filial. He bowed across China to repay his mother's kindness. So in our line, the men, you could say, in our line, all paid special attention to that first relationship of their birth parents and acted in what society would consider extreme and unusual ways to repay that kindness, right? By taking years of their lives to address that respect. Shifu says, precepts for the deceased, the ceremony we're going to do tomorrow is the most filial action that you can do within the Dharma. Now, he also says, he does something unexpected. He says, by doing this, we can actually affect the karma of the planet and humanity. And people notice that? He went from something very personal to something very, very big. Everybody at once. And I think that's really worth looking at. And he says, sincerity, you have to be sincere to make that work. But how does it work? How is that, is that just the way Shifu talks? Well, he did, but how is tomorrow bowing, getting a Dharma name, kneeling, putting up with the heat, putting up with the discomfort, and saying, Nang Chi, how does that affect the good and bad karma of the planet? I think the key, and I would like to hear what people think about that. My take, if somebody asked me that question, I would say that word, 没有忘本, we did not forget the roots. That's the important thing. That's how, when the root, 君子务本，本立而道生, the superior person, the wise person, pays attention to the foundation. When that goes deep, everything else works. What do we do with AI and with intelligent agents is what people are doing now, and buying up land and taking all the electricity for data centers. We're going further and further and further out to the branch tips. And there's no end to, they say, our economy these days. That is to say, the thing that people pay attention to most, money, is going entirely into these little electronic ghosts that we wind up, that has us all addicted. Now, that's branch tips stuff. And there's no end to it. And there, at no time does that ever get to the place where you say, I am satisfied. I have done what I should do. That is exactly right. We don't say that. There's never an end to consumption of information. When we turn that around and go to the root of our lives, we go to that place where we came from and say, thank you, I'm grateful, I would like to ask the Buddhas, the Dharma and the Sangha and the Dharma protectors to bless you. I will bow on your behalf and take the precepts to be sure that you, wherever you are in your evolution, can go to the Pure Land. That satisfies. That is the home we're looking for. When you get there, you say, ah, I've done what I should, right? So, 不忘本, don't forget the roots. When you go there and you really focus and you do effort, because this Precepts for the Deceased is a little bit, is effortful. It's not easy at all. I mean, in the doing of it. You'll see tomorrow. But there is definitely a sense of doing something right. I think that may be why, after Precepts for the Deceased, many people have wet faces. There's just something about, that hit the spot because I was looking in the right place instead of chasing it out there somewhere. Right? Does that make sense? 大家听得懂? There's this Dharma really pays off. It really rewards the effort. Okay. Now, I'm not going to ask Heng Zushi to help tell her story about her relatives, but that's maybe you can, if you have a chance, you can ask her. She has a very interesting story about the last time we did the Precepts for the Deceased at City of 10,000 Buddhas, when it was close to 40 degrees? What was the temperature there? 108 in Fahrenheit, which was, what is that in 42? 42, 42 du, under the tent. And one of Heng Zushi's relatives got the precepts, and then another one came to her later and said, why didn't you hold my pai wei? You have to do the next time. So that's why she's here. Is that the correct story? I think so. Yeah, she can give you the details. But anyway, she had another relative who said, my turn next. You got to go to Australia. She came. So, yeah. So, okay. So that's one idea. We really pay attention to Erstor Bodhisattva, Dizampusa. And Dizampusa is not well known outside of our Chinese Mahayana tradition. But once you touch Dizampusa and that story in the sutra, particularly the two women, one is called Guangmuni, bright eyes, the other is called Bolomanyu, the Brahman woman. In the Erstor Sutra, this happens as the sutra tells us the origin story, two of the origin stories, more than one, of Erstor Bodhisattva. He was a woman in a past life, and again, did not forget his relatives, his mother in particular. And there's one sentence in that sutra that you really have to pay attention to, where it says, the woman, is it Guangmuni or is it Bolomanyu? I don't know. She gave up everything she owned. She offered everything she owned. She pawned all of her wealth in order to get money to make an offering to a Pratyeka Buddha or a Buddha. And as a result, she gets an answer to her burning question that she needs to know. And that question is, where's my mom? Where is my mother? And for most of us, we might ask that question, maybe many of us have, where are you gonna get your answer? A tarot deck, astrology? No, that won't work. You're gonna hope for a dream. So in the Erstor Sutra, the woman who became Dizampusa pawned everything she owned, turned it into money, made a big offering, and got an answer. And because of that experience, she made vows that turned her into Dizampusa. So that's a powerful story about this very same Dharma of connecting to our source as a human and paying a lot of attention there. Most of us, I think, the fact that we could get over 100 people here tomorrow to do this is amazing here in Australia. Most people don't have time to remember their elders, their source. But congratulations, well done, all of you who are going to be holding Paiways tomorrow. You did that. You did that turn around to look within. And when we do that, the Buddha says, oh good, here's a method. I have a method for you. I have a dharma, as Shifu called it, 这个佛事, 这种佛事, he said. This Buddhist event, this business that the Buddha gives us to do. So, well done, well done. And it's going to be, there's the actual doing of the ceremony. Anybody who remembers what it was like to take refuge, it's like that. The Sangwe Wujie ceremony, it's based on that, the same kind of ceremony. And you invite the master, you invite the sages, you hear a Dharma talk, you repent on behalf of. The difference is, what's so interesting about you as the one requesting the precepts is that you undergo a bit of suffering on behalf of the person whose plaque you're holding. And when I say suffering, discomfort, I mean you're kneeling, you're bowing, you're in the heat. And you're also, that's the physical part. But the really important part, and this is what I want to share with you all tonight, so tomorrow it'll be fresh for you. There's an internal piece to the Yoming that is more important than the external piece. Why? Some of you tomorrow will not be kneeling and doing our half bow. You will be sitting in a chair. Elders, people who are limited mobility for any reason, we have chairs for you, and I want to say the gongde is just the same. Yiyang. Okay? That's really, really important, because we don't want people to feel like, oh, I have to go struggle with the young people, or else my Zuxian will not get the precept. Not true. No. The internal part, what you're doing in your mind, is what matters the most. Now, what will you be doing? Here's the thing. In the ceremony, it says, Sun Xiang Wang Zhe Xing Rong. Think of the face and form of your elder, ancestor, whoever it is. Okay? It says that multiple times. And that's all you have to do. Just bring a vision, just an image of whoever it might be. Is it someone you're related to? Is it someone you're helping someone else hold a paiwei? Maybe you never met the person. What if this is someone who you don't know? You're holding it for someone else. Put their name in that place. Just put their name in the place where the face would be, as if you knew them, and you get the same effect. All right? So that's important. Is that clear? Everybody get that part? So, Sun Xiang Wang Zhe Xing Rong, right? Contemplate the face and form of the one whose name is on the paiwei. That's why, for that reason, this is different from a chaodu. If we, after a fa hui, we say, okay, what is it? Yuan Qin Zai Zhu, right? You have a paiwei and you put Yuan Qin Zai Zhu, all of the people who I have harmed or who I have a debt with, 不一样, not the same. That's the more the better, right? This is one person. Sun Xiang Wang Zhe Xing Rong. Why? Why do you think about the face and form of one individual? Because you are taking the precepts for them. You are receiving precepts. And you don't give Yuan Xin Zai Zhu, all of the people who I've hurt in my many lifetimes. You don't take the precepts for that people. They may not want to take the precepts. Okay, so, all right? Okay, let's see here. So, the very first time that Shifu did the precepts for the deceased at City of 10,000 Buddhas, it was after the Shui Lu Kong Fa Hui in 1987. And the monks at everybody had gone home, but Shifu said, okay, we are going to Chuan Youming Jie. And it was at the Buddha Hall, and we kind of understood, because we'd attended the Youming Jie, we'd attended the Shui Lu Kong, but not everybody had taken the precepts for the deceased. So we kind of understood and kind of didn't. And I was holding 2 pai weis, which is wrong, right? Not the way it's done. I had my dad in this hand and my grandfather in this hand. And my grandfather, on the Canadian side, I'd never seen him. I never met him. He was a butcher, Tufu, in Sherbrooke, Quebec, small town on the St. Lawrence, on the Sherbrooke River and the Memphremagog River there. And he was one of the 2 butchers in Sherbrooke. And you would think that, according to the way cause and effect goes, that he should have had a miserable life. Well, he died quietly by the side of a trout stream while fishing at age 70-something. He had a peaceful death. But he lived by killing animals. His sons, however, his 3 sons, all had bad health, and his daughter died early of cancer. Anyway, so I'd never met him. I didn't know what his face looked like. I just had his name, James Clowry. And so then I had my father's pai wei, and my father had a very complicated relationship with the karma of killing, because why? He went to Europe in the Second World War to fight Nazi Germany, and he wanted to join the Air Force. Canada didn't go. Canada and the US didn't have an Air Force. They had the Army Air Corps. The Air Force hadn't been created yet in 1939, 1940. So my father joined the Army Air Corps in the US, coming down from Canada. He became a bombardier, and he flew B-24s over Europe, 51 missions, and dropped bombs on the people that we were fighting. So how many people did he kill? It's hard to know. He was a soldier defending his country. That's why I say it's complicated. Is that heroic, or is that, what does cause and effect say when you killed in order to defend? So, all right, so here I am. Shifu is, I was down in front, right in front of the altar at CTDB, kneeling there, holding 2 pai weis. And Shifu was explaining as he went, and went slowly. But as he was doing the Kai Dao part, where it says, no matter whether it says, are you a king, a prince, a noble, a libertine, a prostitute, a dragon, it says, all you have to do is understand the Fasher's words, who is transmitting the ceremony, and you can be saved. It said you can be crossed over. As Shifu said that, I felt this amazing pressure in my chest rising up, and suddenly it just came out my eyes. I started sobbing, and it was like somebody had turned on a faucet. I was just streaming with tears. It was unusual, holding these pai weis. And then that pressure went away, and I felt light and happy. And at the end, when we take the plaques and burn them, and I went up, I said, Shifu, I had 2 plaques. He said, why 2? You know, it's supposed to be 1. I said, I don't know, Shifu, I didn't know that. I said, this is my father, this is my grandfather. And he said, he got that look in his eye, and he said, your grandfather has been crossed over. He said, I don't see your father. Your grandfather's in the heavens. He said, I don't see your father. So, since then, I've been the one transmitting. So one of these days, I'll hold the Pai Wei. But we have to have somebody do the Yoming Jie. So, Jin Yong Shi, I'm going to draft you. So I get to cross my dad over. Yeah, so. One day, my father's probably going, hurry up already. You know, thank you. I appreciate that. So, okay, so who has questions about tomorrow? Any of the issues that are coming up? Any of the mechanics of the ceremony? How the actual thing is done? Yes, Jin Shuanshu. You're going to have to speak up so I can hear you.
Okay, it's working.
Sorry. Am I can talk now? Okay. I had a question from one of our meditation members. So she had multiple deaths in her family, and she just learned about this Dharma. So she asked me, she doesn't know who to carry the plaque for first. Is there some kind of priority involved? Because I remember reading that the precepts for the deceased is particularly helpful for those who had untimely deaths. So, but then the question of who had untimely death is also hard to answer. So how would Fasha answer this person's question? How do we prioritize if we needed to prioritize? Amitabha.
So pick one. Just pick one.
Just pick one.
So you said multiple.
Yeah.
And the question is what to do and who to go first? Mm-hmm. Pick one. Okay? Yeah. I don't know who they are. She does.
But what I meant was like, does she prioritize someone who had an accident versus someone who had a natural death? Is where I'm coming from.
Pick one. Yeah. So particularly the Yoming Jie were, as Master Hua explained it, ordinarily people who pass away ideally have someone to pray for them. Just use that language. Someone prays for them, someone creates merit for them, dedicates it to them, or they themselves have enough merit to leave the way our tradition describes it is you go see King Yama. Not all Buddhists talk about this, by the way, interestingly. But you go to see King Yama, there's a screen, they said, that shows you your offenses and the good deeds you've done both. But it's very, very much a court of law scene. King Yama looks at your wholesome virtues and your offenses and assigns you your next rebirth. And they say, 铁面老阎君, he's old King Yama with an iron face. You can't bribe him, you can't touch his heart with a sad story. And people try everything, but he's like, yep, okay, you go. So in some cases, people have no one to intercede with. In some cases, there's no one to pray for you. And in that case, people sometimes get stuck. Anyone who has read medieval European literature might have read Dante's trilogy. It's called Paradiso, Purgatorio, and Inferno, right? Heaven, purgatory, and hell. Dante's Inferno, Dante's Paradiso. He's a incredibly wonderful and almost miraculous Italian author who wrote this trilogy, 3 books about poetry. It's about heaven, purgatory, and hell. Which one do you think purgatory is? Yoming. It means darkness. It's in the realm of darkness. Dante, the Italian poet, wrote from his European perspective. Apparently he had an eye open to the reality of this place. So some living beings cannot happily be reborn into their next life. They get stuck. That's where Precepts for the Deceased goes, in particular. Okay? Now, not you, of course, hope that your ancestor is not there. Your ancestor may happily be reborn already. By giving them the precepts, you put money in the bank of their virtue and their blessings. Okay? So, I have another amazing story. You've all heard me tell this story over and over again. So, it's worth retelling though. If you know European history, you know about the French Revolution. French Revolution, it was the 1800s, and the king on the throne was Louis XVI, Louis the 16th, the House of Bourbon. And you know Marie Antoinette. People know Marie Antoinette's story. It's been made into films recently. So Marie Antoinette was his wife, and the French royalty was out of touch with the reality of the people in the street. How many people have seen Les Miserables? Either the movie or the play it was based on, the musical. So that's all about this story. So, okay, park that to one side. We did Precepts for the Deceased at CTDB, and there was a nun who was said had her eyes open. True or false, that's not, I won't go into that. But there was, for a couple years, she was said to be able to see things. Tianyan, Tongla. So after the Precepts for the Deceased, Shifu said, 有没有谁有什么境界有没有啊? And she said, Shifu was very strange, she said. She said there were all these people in empty space who showed up when you were doing the formula, when you were doing the Fa Hui, You Ming Jie. She said the strangest thing about these people is most of them were carrying their heads in their hands. They were holding their heads like this. And she said not only that, they were wearing old clothing, fancy silks and ribbons and puffed up sleeves, and their heads had these large headdresses on them. And they were wearing 18th century European clothing. And Shifu said, oh, did you hear anything? She said, yes, I think they were speaking French, Shifu. And he said, oh, why do you suppose they were there? And she said, could it be that after the French Revolution, all of the nobility had their heads cut off, and they've been waiting, stuck in the Yoming, for someone to cross them over all these hundreds of years? Could be, he said. Shifu didn't say, oh, that's correct, that's true. He said, could be. He said, in any case, we hope that they will cross over, and many more, he said. I might add that one of the reasons why City of the Dharma Realm, CDR, not GCDR, but CDR, in Sacramento West Sacramento was established is because of the large number of Chinese laborers who went to California because of the gold rush and because of the railroads and died in cave-ins and explosions and were murdered and by the thousands and thousands and thousands. So in California, there were many gu hun waiting to be crossed over. And there are people who have seen surrounding CDR that phenomenon happening. Okay, that's on the, I don't see those things, and we don't want to go, our minds go there. What we want to do is connect to our ancestor, our filial relative, whoever that is, who we would like to bring out of the darkness of the Yoming, or to whom we would like to give the precepts and increase their ability to be reborn in the Pure Land. By doing that, heaven and earth get back to their balance. That's the bigger picture. So it's not the case, I hope I see ghosts tomorrow. That's kind of small. And if you're supposed to, you will. Don't count on it. You might. You never know. Your brother might come to you and say, I'm next, right? But those things can happen, and what we're doing is we're saying, I remember. I didn't forget you. I remember you, and I want to do something good for you. That's all we have to do tomorrow. Okay, now every time we do the Yoming Jie, we give a Dharma name, and it's one name for everyone. One name for everyone. So last time we did, because of Jin An Fa Jie, Gold Coast Dharma Realm, Jin An, we did Fa An. We say Fa An Dang Ling Hun, right? Fa An and all you other spiritual souls. Tomorrow, the name is Fa Yan, Zhuang Yan, Leng Yan. This is Leng Yan Shangsi, Shurangama Monastery. Fa Yan, Zhuang Yan, Hua Yan, Leng Yan, that Yan. Adornment, or also severe, Han Yan Su, that Yan. Fa Yan Dang Ling Hun. Everybody say Fa Yan, Dang Ling Hun. Fa Yan Dang Ling Hun. Okay. More questions? Jin Shen Shi ask a question. Who else has got a question? Okay, is that Li Dan? Can you give her the mic?
阿弥陀佛法师，我的问题是，我们替亡者受持菩萨戒，但是如果亡者他生前不是佛教徒，或者他并没有接触佛法，那我们应该怎么理解亡者他该如何受持这个菩萨戒
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you want to, can you translate for yourself?
Yeah. We are going to take the We are going to take the Bodhisattva precepts for the deceased. But if, on behalf of the deceased, but if the deceased people, they are not Buddhist, or they never know Buddhism, how they can hold the precepts? That is my question. Thank you.
So, if you think the first time at CTDB, all these French aristocrats came from where they had been. They were French, Buddhism wasn't there, and yet they still were able to come to the monastery and be liberated. So let's say the person whose name you're holding, they were not a Buddhist. If I saw with my own eyes what the Wangzhe, what the soul sees, my guess is it would be light. They're not understanding Chinese. They're not understanding English. They're not getting an email. They're not getting a text. They're not, getting a certificate. What are they understanding? It's probably not words. So I don't think, when the state in the purgatory, if we use that English word, the state of the King Yama's realm is one of great fear. There's a lot of 恐怖 there. Because you don't know, think of a jail where you're being held, you're not sentenced yet. 看守所, right? You're not sentenced, but you've been arrested for what you've done, and you know that you're probably going to go to prison, but you might get off. It's that kind of uncertainty. It's a very anxious existence. These are living beings, these souls that we're talking about. So when this light comes down and this feeling of compassion, this feeling of somebody cares about me and is, because they're saying my name, they're thinking of me, they're doing Dharma work for me, I think the soul is going to be like somebody who's very thirsty and you're giving them cool water. Somebody who's very hungry and you're giving them some good food. They're not going to resist to, say, well, actually, if it's not Christian, I don't want it. I doubt it. I think it's going to be, they're going to say, "Gan saved." So I had that same thought. That's a very 21st century question, because we fight, Buddhists and non-Buddhists, and even among Buddhists, we fight among each other. Christians fight with Christians, Muslims fight with Muslims, Jews fight with everyone. And so that's our problem here in the human realm. Down in the realm where this is going, I think the suffering is so intense that this is all welcome. That's my feeling. Does that make sense, Yidan? Can you? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be rejected, because it's the level of, it's not in theological points. It's not there arguing theology. It's like, save me, kind of situation. More? Still have time?
One for the men's
Yes.
side. Here. Here. Who?
阿弥陀佛。
Could you take your mask off? 我说那个
OK, can,
口
no problem.
口罩
OK,
面罩。
阿弥陀佛，
Yeah,
司法
thank
师
you.。
我一个亲戚，他是很年轻的时候被误杀，他那时候他被误杀之后，好多年之后，我就在生辰托人帮他做了2次的幽冥界，然后在几年前，我时隔他大概往生了30多年之后，我再梦见他，几年前我梦见他，他坐在厕所里面。然后再过了一段时间，我又再梦见他，他还是在厕所里面。
Translate. Just, I can hear you.
Your mic here.
She dreamed a deceased person in toilet repeatedly.
I translate by myself. Okay.
Okay. And the question is?
司法师阿弥陀佛。
Yeah.
My relative, he was murdered in his very, very young age. So then thereafter, I had get some friends do the disease precept for him twice in CTTB. After he passed away about 30 years, a few years ago, I dreamed of him. He was sitting on inside a toilet. Then thereafter, I think about a few months or 1 year later, I dream of him again, still inside the toilet.
So your question is?
The question is he trying to sending me some message?
So the short answer is I don't know. And for me to say, oh, I know what this is, that would not be honest. This is a relative of yours? What relation to you?
My cousin, my younger cousin.
Cousin?
Yes.
就是表弟。
堂弟.
堂弟, okay. So, and he was murdered?
Yes.
Okay. So, hearing about it in 3 sentences, for me to tell you what's going on would be foolish. I would have to know details about this and that. But if someone has been murdered, there's a very good chance that this is just one. If you think of lifetimes as a film strip, movies, when projectors used to be frame, 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 and it moves through the projector. Remember how we used to do movies, the boomers? So, one lifetime, no matter 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, is one frame. For someone to be murdered, we're seeing the next scene in the film, the next frame of the film. That kind of negative relation to someone else is probably deeply rooted, I suspect. So, also you said you did multiple Yomingjie for him, more than once? Okay, so I'm sure that shows sincerity on your part. It also shows doubts on your part. That the first time didn't work, so you got to do it again somehow. And you're sincere, that's good for you. It doesn't hurt, there's no harm there, but you don't have to do it more than once. It's like when someone gets baptized, 受洗, 那个洗礼, it's not that they have to do it again because they're still dirty, you know, 洗不干净, 没洗好. No. So, are you doing the same for the person again tomorrow? Another person, okay, yeah. So, for me to tell you, it's like, okay. I do know if someone is murdered, the real challenge is in their next life to not want to murder back. You know, this kind of, that kind of violent karmic connection usually doesn't stop unless the person truly on their own says, I'm going to end the karma. That's why they say when you eat, the person who eats the sheep in the next life becomes the sheep, and then the sheep comes back to eat the person, you know. It's that killing karma is hard to end. So why is the person in a toilet? I don't know. Maybe that's better than before. You can be a human, but you're not in a clean place yet, because that karma 还没有了，那个杀业很重, you know. So I don't want to tell you that I know what's going on. Certainly you can, if you know your Tangdi and you want to help them out, keep reciting for them. That's a really wholesome thing to do. And if you know for sure in your dreams are tricky. Was that really your Tangdi in the dream? Or was it a symbol of your concern for your Tangdi and your fear that you hope that they're better, you know? So to say, oh, I had the dream, therefore that is my Tangdi, he's now in the toilet. It's like, no, I wouldn't say that's necessarily the case. You don't know for sure. But what you can do is, in your heart, say, I care about him, I want to do good for him. So keep 回向, you know, that's for sure. Okay? Okay, we had one more over here. Is it Anne?
Dhamma Master, can we take precepts for pets? I have a friend actually interested in this ceremony, but you know, she wanted me to find out if she could do for her pet dog.
Okay, that's not an uncommon question. That question comes up a lot because we Modern people really sometimes love their pets more than their own kids, so. We pretty much don't do that. There are reasons for it. In the ceremony, you are standing in on behalf of the person to say, yes, I can take the precept. The cat, the dog, the bird, the fish can't say it. And you talk about a certain amount of consciousness to be able to transform. So to jump from animal to human, and then ideally from human to, sage, to arhat, to bodhisattva, to Buddha, you need to have a certain amount of consciousness. And the animals can be reborn as humans, but it's an extraordinary, they have to be animals a long time before they leave the animal realm. So to do all this ceremony for a being that can't respond in a dharma way is not appropriate, but you can definitely benefit. I feed animals and I recite the 7 Tathagatas names, Namo Dobao Rulai, Namo Bao Sheng Rulai, and dedicate. There are Buddhas whose vows are entirely getting beings not only out of the animal realm, but out of the ghost realm, when they're even more scattered, right? So you as a friend to the person who's got the animals say, I can tell you what the Buddhists do with animals. In the Dharani Sutra, it says if you recite the Dabe Jo in the water while you're swimming, all the animals, all of the fish, the aquatic creatures, get benefits from the vibration of your Dabe Jo in the water. So these realms I'm not comfortable talking about because I don't see them myself, but I'm quoting what the sutras say. And we never have done anything specifically for animals. There were certain times, there were animals that when we do the Feng Sheng, liberating life, we recite the Heart Sutra, there's mantras for Feng Sheng, they hear the Buddha's names. Shifu did that for lots of birds and fish and animals and donkeys and wild horses and things. So there's a lot of things you can do, but it's just not the precepts. Okay. One thing that I didn't mention that is really worth thinking about. Precepts for the deceased is 2 for 1. 2 for 1, meaning there is a moment in the ceremony where you are talking to the ghost, the guhun, the soul who you're holding. There's another part of the ceremony where it's talking directly to you. So you are getting all the benefit of the bowing and the repenting, but you're doing it on behalf of someone. So it's really interesting how the Buddha gets 2 for 1 out of this. You're getting crossed over and increasing your gongda at the same time as you're doing it for someone else. And tomorrow you'll see there's an interesting interplay between talking directly to, Rudang, Guhun, and talking to you, the person holding it. So this is a really wonderful Dharma. We get crossed over at the same time we're focusing on our relationship. So. Okay, are we Jin Chuan, Jin Wei, Jin Yong Shi? Any more do we want to say? Anything to bring up? Tomorrow morning. Yeah, so we mentioned that. Yeah. So tomorrow morning we have a question. Okay, your microphone, ma.
阿弥陀佛，法师们好，我是来自中国的那个罗小红。我的问题是，就是如果明天那个佑民戒，像我女儿她年纪比较小，说，没有捧牌位，她也可以参加这个法会吗？
Can someone switch 这个法会，然后再 holding a flag? can they attend the 法会
young sheep.
Say it again.
The young sheep.
Luo Xiaohong has a daughter, is only 13 years old. She doesn't hold. Can she also attend this event?
So, I didn't, who is it? She wants to attend it?
Her daughter.
Her daughter. So, it's, she can attend, but certainly it's a public event. She won't be able to say anything. We don't want her to, because she won't be holding a 牌位。可以是可以，她可以就说随喜，她不讲话 ，you know， 她不碰牌位，不过她可以在场，没问题。
在那里。
Okay, good, yeah. 好 ，you're welcome to join in, yeah. Sit to one side, yeah. So, okay, 是这个问题哈。Tomorrow at 8 a.m. there will be a 普佛拜愿。The ceremony is for Wade Zhang Zhongrong is going to become a trainee in the process. He's going to enter the program in America, and people are welcome to come again and support. We transmit the Bhagwan Zaijie for the end of for the duration of the program. Again, those of you who've taken the Bhagwan Zaijie can really take part. If you have not taken those precepts, we want you to be silent. You can come and support him in your heart, but we're asking him, Jin Xing Shou Neng Chi Fao. You don't want to carelessly say, Neng Chi. Uh-oh, I took the wrong precepts. Oh no. Samaban. Butcher. You know, that's just avoid all that. So you're welcome to join. It'll be very bright light tomorrow, very full feeling. There are also lots of work to be done. And I want to mention, this is important. This is for GCDR, for us here, this is a big event. There's a lot of Dharma friends here from the whole planet, other parts of Australia, and many people are, will have to stand in line for the food, for the bathroom. We'll have to be really good family members and support each other and understand that on any given day there are 6 of us here, right? 6 or 7. And tomorrow there's going to be 100 plus. So almost everyone here doesn't know where to go, hasn't been here before. So please use kindness, use care and patience and a heart of service. Really fa puti xin tomorrow, pusa xin, to help each other. We have, look at the number of bhikshunis here. We have really distinguished bhikshunis, 4 bhikshus here. Everyone will be trying their best to really get the precepts to invisible beings who we're connected to. And that's an important part, and also Wade's ceremony. But the real cultivation comes in every encounter we meet with the person beside us. Are you using kindness? Are you being thoughtful and patient and mindful as we just get a drink of water? Or if you see somebody who's wandering, you can say, we show you where to go, can I help you? And be really friendly. This is a wonderful Dharma community. Tomorrow this is bright light for DRBA, for our Buddhist Association. And some of the Dharma friends we meet tomorrow will be friends we meet in the Pure Land, for sure. Not tomorrow, but later. So, right.
What time is Yoming Jie?
Yoming Jie is 2 p.m.
So to confirm, the ceremony to becoming a trainee for Waits will start at 8 a.m. with universal bowing, the bowing of repentance, for 30 minutes. And 8:30 will be actual ceremony when everyone can support and observe the whole ceremony.
Very good.
And we'll finish around 9:30, 9:45. People are welcome to come for the universal bowing if you wish, and 8:30 will begin.
Okay.
And more informations will announce after ceremony. We'll plan to move those bowing cushions to the dining hall. So it'd be nice if people also can, in this, what Rebecca Shur mentioned, in the heart of service and support, just be aware of what we can do, how we can support, how we can show up in the way to work together.
One more bit of traffic control. After we take the precepts for the deceased, we get to run right back to the Buddha Hall to get a group photo. So how much confusion will that be? A lot of confusion. So we want everybody who takes the Omingjie or who is watching to keeping mindful, even reciting the Buddha's name as we go, come right back here, we'll get a beautiful photograph and make it a historic moment. And then we'll put that photo on the wall and think, boy, that was like a dream. So many people here. Where did they all go? They've all gone home. And all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will have big smiles and think, we've crossed over a few more this time. Shifu's disciples did not forget their roots. 上人的弟子都并没有忘本。
That must be the last one. Please drink water.
Yeah.
It's very hot, we sweat a lot,
多多喝水。
very easy to be dehydrated. So this is very important priority, that you can stand from the whole ceremony aware and strong.
Yeah, 多多喝水。Okay, are we good? So right from where you're sitting, if you can bow from your knees, we can 回向. Just make a wish, dedicate merit. 愿以此功德，庄严佛净土，上报四众安，下济三途苦。有见闻者，悉发菩提心，此一报身，同生极乐国。Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. "能小长一句闲话，能多念一声佛号。